What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on a goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up? Welcome back to Tell the Truth. Yours truly, DMac, here with DG and CJ for Tell
All
Truth
black affair.
53.
Hit that DG.
All black hitting that DG. We are here. The Chiefs have gotten back to their winning ways in Carolina.
Big dub.
And of course, they had to do it in a one-score victory against the Panthers. Hitting a game-winning field goal. Spencer Schrader, thank you for your service. It may appear, given the rest of the season, how that plays out. Hit the game-winning field goal. Chiefs win 30-27 in a game that was closer than it probably needed to be. They were in control at halftime. Were not able to get some stops out of halftime. The offense had one punt, in the second half and scored on the rest of their drives. And ultimately speaking, they had to squeak this one out, which is not a surprise. How you guys feeling tonight?
Feeling good, bro. It's almost Thanksgiving, so almost there, man.
I'm off all week. God is great.
Wow. Yeah. See, I'm not. So
all praise to the Most High.
One more day for me. One more day.
Praise to the Most High. I'm feeling good, fellas.
As you should. So yes, obviously this is a situation that we are used to. The Chiefs playing a one-score game and winning versus a team that they probably should not. But here we are once again. We're going to talk about a few different things, kind of go good news, bad news throughout the rest of this. Also going to get into some things that we're thankful for throughout the beginning part of this Chiefs season as we turn the page towards Thanksgiving and real football starting to be played. Give you a Tell the Truth review. Also have our Week 11 power rankings and also give you an update on who's coming back to the roster and who's leaving the roster because the Chiefs cannot seem to shake the injury bug so far to start this year. So along the lines of starting out with some of the bad news, there's a discussion to be had about the offensive line. The offensive line did not necessarily have its best day. I think you saw some issues, whether it was Joe Tooney with the penalty, Trey Smith having some issues in one-on-one pass protection, some issues that were related to Juwan Taylor's pass sweats, as well as Mitchell Schwartz pointed out. And then, of course, the tackles had some up and downs. Juwan Taylor had maybe his worst game of the season, probably his worst game of the season. And Wanye Morris continued to struggle on something that we can probably, well point out now is this an injury that he's been dealing with since that Broncos game. And it's been important context to lay out there that he's basically been playing on one knee since that Broncos injury. So unfortunate context, but the offense was still able to operate without, those issues. And we're kind of talking about future additions to this offensive line and their role as far as that's concerned. But DG and CJ, where do you guys stand as far as the offensive line is concerned? How troubling was the performance on Sunday from that unit, from you guys' perspective?
It wasn't anything that I didn't expect. I think we kind of all know up until this point now that the offensive tackle play isn't going to be all pro caliber or anything like that. I think Juwan Taylor has his moments where there's days where he's really good, and then there's days, where he makes a couple mistakes. And, I think it just is what it is at this point. Just kind of the expectation. Wanye, in my opinion, I do believe he's playing injured up to this point, just trying to battle through it. But at the same time, he didn't look all that great before the injury. So, but I think that they're figuring out ways to game plan around it, game plan for it. At this point, I love what they did on Sunday. It seemed like it was more of an emphasis to get Pat underneath center, give him a little bit more time, a lot more play action, a lot more running the ball as well too. Still, run blocking has been great as well too. They've still been able to move the ball effectively through the run. So it is what it is to this point. I don't expect spectacular play especially from the offensive tackle standpoint. The interior has been somewhat disappointing. It was a little bit somewhat disappointing on Sunday, and I think that's kind of more of a reason why the offensive line struggled in a sense. I think Trey Smith is kind of having to make up a lot sometimes to alleviate some things at points, but yeah, it's I don't expect them to go out there and have their best game every game, and but come playoff time, I would like to see them be locked in and ready to go and ready to execute.
CJ, what about you?
No, I agree. Interior didn't have their best week. They've been leaking a little bit the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, giving some plays here or there, but that's to be expected during a long season. And obviously, like we said, our tackles haven't been up to par like we would like them to be, and that's just something we just have to deal with and manage around it, whether it be chipping or sliding, and maybe not taking as many deep shots as we would like, maybe not many per game, but maybe intermediate to more short plays and running the football at a high level like we've done all year. But it's gonna you have to hinder one part of your offense when you're taking away from one portion to cover up another area you're lacking in, and that's our pass pro from our outside protection with our tackles right now. So from an offensive standpoint, I love to see what Pat did. I love him getting the ball out of his hands quick. He was seeing the coverage is better, anticipating, making better decisive throws and decisions, and I love to see him get everybody involved. Everybody got touches early. Noah, Trav, D-Hop in the red zone again is going to be a monster for us all year. Can't wait to see him get more involved in the middle of the field. But I just love to see everybody get involved. And we kind of like just that time last year, we were asking, hey, who are going to be our top 4 playmakers for our offense? And we kind of condensed it down to Pacheco, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and whoever our fourth miscellaneous weapon was last year. It was a little bit of MVS or some Justin Watson in the playoffs. But I think now we kind of know who our big 4 is. Obviously, it's going to be Kareem Hunt is our RB1 until Pacheco gets back and spares him to rest and to get him out off the field, get him off his feet. And then obviously Travis Kelce and Noah Gray are our top 2 tight ends. And then obviously D-Hop is our number 1 receiver. And then hopefully we get Hollywood back, and Juju's going to have those miscellaneous plays as well. So we kind of know who the main guys we need to touch the ball. So from an offensive standpoint, the biggest thing for us is just managing our tackles, knowing when and where to slide protection, when to chip help, when to run the football, when to take our deep shots. I would like to see us do more in the green zone in the middle of the field, because then the defense is kind of on their heels, not knowing what to expect. But from an offensive standpoint, I think we're rolling, and I think we're coming closer together than what we need to be going into January. So I think everything is kind of going in the right motion right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't, disagree with anything that you guys have laid out there. I think this offensive line will come together when it matters most ultimately and play well. And again, we'll talk about that left tackle situation a little bit later on. I think ultimately they're in a solid place as far as that's concerned. I think Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor, they'll continue to get back to kind of their higher level of play. I think Sunday was not the best of days for them. We know Creed's been elite this entire year. Joe Tooney's been elite this entire year. I think ultimately this offense is moving in the right direction. The arrow is pointed upwards. And we'll talk a little bit about that from that aspect as well. So I'm still encouraged by that point, but there is one thing that I do want to point out, because I think that it's probably a little bit going against some of maybe the stats and figures that we've seen out there as far as win rates and pressure grades. Obviously, we know Wanya Morris at left tackle has been a little bit up and down, but generally speaking, across the rest of the metrics, this offensive line has graded out well or performed well, whether those metrics are concerned. But this is one that I think is indicative of some of those issues that have been tried to navigate against, at times. And this is Patrick Mahomes as far as clean pockets, and he's one of the worst as far as having an actual clean pocket to throw from. But he's been one of the best quarterbacks when actually given that clean pocket. And that's indicative of what you need to see basically in the playoffs, is if you give this guy a chance to operate, then he's going to be able to take advantage of it. But they haven't given him a lot of chances. Go ahead, DG. You seem like you want to say something.
Nah, just nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. So it's just disappointing to see. Like,
he's all the way over there.
Yeah, bro. So like behind Russell Wilson is crazy.
That's wild. That's so wild.
I think Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Deshaun Watson hasn't even played.
He's down there with Justin Fields. Jesus Lord. No, I think the biggest thing for our offense, man, we just have to just know our weaknesses and know our strengths. And for everyone else, just know that, hey, there's no such thing as a perfect roster. We're not going to have every area of weakness filled by the time we get to January. It's just not realistic. You just have to know what you can and what you cannot do. And for us, I don't think Pat may not like this, but it's kind of similar to last year. You probably can't hold the ball on as much as you want to. You got to be more realistic. You got to do a lot more quick game DG, a lot more slants, a lot more bubble screens, maybe some rub concepts that are going to replace our run game so you can still get the ball out of your hands. Maybe get Mecole involved more, do some more jet sweeps and some more toss sweeps to get him more involved in the game plan as well. So I know he wants to, 5-step, 7-step drop and let that thing sling and get it out there, but we just don't have the tackle to do that right now at this point in time. So you just have to be more selective, like I said earlier, when you take your deep shots. And that'll mean running the football more early downs like we've been doing. We kind of getting away from that the last 2 weeks. As to be expected, we've been running Kareem into the dirt, to the ground for the last month. So eventually you got to ease up on his touches as well. But overall, what this offense does well. You know what we don't do well. This is the time of year going into December, obviously Thanksgiving this week. We start rolling in the form and knowing what we do well when we don't do well. You don't want to give, like we said it before we got on air, you don't want to give out all your secrets and all of your go-to plays against meaningless football teams, because why would I give out my sauce to a team I'm not going to see in the playoffs? So I just want to, as far as like have everybody's expectations be tempered, because you know what this team can do offensively. But I think it's going to be a lot more like last year's offense in the playoffs. We're going to run the ball a lot more. His pass attempts are probably going to be down more than he liked to be. But I think that's the best way to keep him clean and keep him from getting hurt and have his offense rolling at a high level.
Yeah. Not mad at that. Sorry, go. You been saying something, DJ?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the plan for them is kind of how they went out and planned it on Sunday. Like I said, I feel like it was more of an emphasis of getting Pat underneath center, which I think helps out a lot, especially when you want to run play action and still run the ball effectively as well too. But it was a lot of passing. There's a lot of passing plays out of center as well too that I really liked to see. I think it gives them a little bit more time. It makes the life a little bit easier for those tackles or whatever, not to have to hold up as long or whatever. Just with the effectiveness of how you run the ball as well too. So hopefully this line is playing a lot better towards the end of the season. Bringing in DJ Humphries, obviously we can see what he can bring to the table if things kind of go astray here for Wanye. So it's good to have depth in those areas or whatever. So hopefully it gets better. I assume it'll get better.
Yeah, and they did a solid job as far as running the ball. Kareem went 16 for 68, 4.3 a carry, and we got some reinforcements on the way to take some pressure off of him. Fortunately, Samaje Perine had a nice little 13-yard run, which it's kind of nice when you actually let
a nice kick return too.
Yeah, I had a very nice kick
return. You saw that juice? You look like Oklahoma Samaje. He got that juice.
Shout out to the broadcast angle that didn't catch the second half of the kickup. They were like, I can't see over there.
It was a great return. I'm like, well, it would be nice to see it. Yeah,
I didn't know he could have been in the end zone for all I knew. I didn't know what was going on.
Hey, cameraman said, "Hey man, he ain't gonna return this. You can go ahead and get that shot of water real quick.
Get that tight shot on there.
You can get that shot of water. He ain't gonna return this.
Get that tight shot.
God dang it, Bill! He ran past the camera.
Joe, we on you.
Joe, we're on. I'm sorry, I was trying to get water. Sorry. Ruined the whole play. I'm like, what's the cameraman doing? He dropped.
Yeah, I was like, well,
but
nice
look,
best return of his life. We didn't even get to see it.
It'd be nice to see.
It'd be nice to say.
We'll talk a little bit as far as the running back rotation is concerned, but yes, allowing Samaje Perine to run the ball every once in a while, it can give you some good results.
Shout out Dave Toe, man. I didn't think he let Samaje do it. I ain't gonna cap with you. I never thought we.
I was surprised to see him out there on kick return too.
Kick return?
I was, but look, I mean, they've had attrition. They kind of need it. And honestly, I kind of prefer him to Samaje Perine.
By any means, bro.
To Carson Steele, so I'm cool with it.
Hey, DMac don't like Carson Steele.
It's not that I don't like Carson Steele. He's just a very specific. He's a fullback. You should treat him like a fullback.
The way DMac feel about Carson Steele is the way DG feel about Louis Zeman.
I feel the same way about Carson.
Louis Zeman so
much. Look, me and D-Man, we on the same page, brother. I don't,
God! Every time Carson Steele run the ball, D-Man be like, Lord Jesus.
Great person.
I don't understand it. You have a very capable backup running back in Samaje Perine that knows how to run the ball.
I agree, brother. I agree. I'm with you.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I know people were excited about, Carson Steele.
Ball State legend. Respect Ball State.
People saying he could be RB1 and,
That lasted 3 days.
Yeah, it
We
was
in
some
too many group
people.
chats. We in too
I
many
just
group
think,
chats.
man, Carson just serves. He needs to serve a specific role on this team.
Short
Like,
yardage, 3rd and 1,
yeah,
4th and 1. That's it. Let's keep it
that's
there.
to be the fullback, man. Just
What's wrong with that?
do the dirty work, be the fullback, play special teams. I think he can carve out a really good career doing that in this league at this point. I don't see the I don't see.
So you saying he ain't better than Kyle Juszczyk?
No, would never say.
He better than Pat. He better than Pat Ricard?
No,
Yeah, Pat Ricard's tackles at this point.
yeah, like
Dang,
that's
a guard.
full tackle.
he a full tackle. I
Yeah.
mean, Carson. He caught a ball. He got a little wiggle. DG. Carson still got some wiggle. He caught the ball.
Hey, man,
Dude, man.
I'm not saying that he can't progress or that he can't get better at this point or whatever, but I just think going into this year, some people's expectations of him were a little too high, and I think they need to be tempered. And I think he serves a specific role.
Hey, Andy gave him a nickname. I don't know what to tell you, fellas. He gonna play. Whenever Andy give you a nickname, you definitely playing.
Yeah, and I don't mind him being like I love him in short yardage situations. I mean now since we've had him, I'm not as nervous. I used to be super nervous about us on third and 1 or 3rd and 2.
He's good at that. He's good at converting for sure.
Yeah, now I'm not as nervous.
I'm gonna look up the numbers. I'm sure he has a very, very high conversion rate. Whenever he touches the ball short yardage, he usually gets the first down. So it's my day too. So I agree.
They've been good at short yards. I'm still concerned. I mean, I don't want him to get into that same fullback formation with Carson Steele there. Like Kareem Hunt, I think gives you maybe a little bit. If it's Pacheco, it's the other guy. Like there's some.
I like having that bigger set. I love it.
I think there's some, and we also saw the kind of diamond, full house, whatever you want to call it, where they went
4-back set.
Yeah, they did that back there as well, which I enjoyed. Those kind of wrinkles are fun to see, and I think those are really useful. I'm just concerned about there's some specific ways that the usage as far as Carson Steele is concerned that I could leave. I just can't. And it's not anything particularly like against Carson Steele. He's just a fullback, in my opinion. I think he should be used as such. Until that happens, then you're going to probably continue to run into occasional issues. But all that being said, obviously the offensive line, I think we all kind of agree. If we expect to have better days, we'll talk about DJ Humphries a little bit later on. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the biggest piece of this. And specifically standpoint of a few weeks ago, DG and I did the midseason review, and we both agreed that this was, a C minus, D type of season so far for Patrick Mahomes at the time in which we did that. But he's played a lot better, to say the least. And in the last few games, talk about 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, over a 70% completion percentage, over 250 yards a game. And that's since DeAndre Hopkins has come to the Chiefs. And that's indicative of a guy that's, doing the things that we want to see him do. Had a few mistakes versus Buffalo that we can, kind of have some issues with. But ultimately, I think this is why we feel comfortable with where the offense is headed, is because the synergy between him and the weapons, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins or Xavier Worthy, or as we have seen the last 2 weeks, specifically Noah Gray with 4 touchdown catches in the last 2 weeks, has started to clearly coalesce. And he's playing at a high level, and he's looking like himself ultimately. And that's what it was always kind of going to come down to. This team is going to continue to get healthy. Hollywood Brown is still a guy that can come on the mend. We talked about DJ for sure. You expect Isaiah Pacheco to play on Black Friday versus the Raiders. But Patrick Mahomes as a centerpiece of playing like Patrick Mahomes is what makes this offense goes. And he has been doing so. So talk to me a little bit, DG and CJ, what you've seen as far as Mahomes is concerned the last few weeks, really specifically since DeAndre Hopkins is getting here, and how you feel about just that continuing on the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking to last week, I think he did especially his last Sunday, did a lot better job protecting the football. Not putting it in harm's way, realizing it sometimes it's better just to go ahead and dirt it or get rid of it instead of trying to make a play out of nothing. I also think that especially the first quarter of this game, the offensive line did a better job of giving him actual time to scan, better, cleaner pocket. I even said it, while the game started, is like if he's going to get that amount of time back there in the pocket against Carolina, it's going to be a long day. But unfortunately, I was wrong by half, and that all turned around or whatever. But I think if they can give him that amount of time to scan the field, look down the field, good things can always happen. Uh, like the emphasis, especially this week, to go to a lot more of their quick game, a lot of hitches underneath, a lot of underneath routes, drags, stuff like that. Getting guys the ball in their hands early. Even the last minute drive in the fourth quarter, the kind of the pick route between him, between Juju and DeAndre Hopkins, getting the ball in his hands on, I think was it a third down or something like that?
Juju.
No, it was to D Hop.
Oh,
I
you
think
said, the touchdown. Yeah, that was third.
it was like third, But anyway, trying to get the ball in his hands. Then speaking to what
He caught that slant.
just said, his trust now and having a new option at tight end in Noah Gray. I think their connection is growing as well as him and DeAndre Hopkins' connection has grown already. You can see tremendously in the couple weeks that D Hop has been here. So he obviously trusts 8 at this point as well too. So yeah, I think just having that emphasis to be conscious of taking care of the ball, and not knowing when to run, when to escape, when to dirt it. So just him having that consciousness, I think, has gotten him back to looking like himself again.
CJ, what about you as far as Mahomes is concerned?
No, but eventually we know the rut that Pat was in, missing throws and being antsy, footwork, anticipating throws, all the mistakes he was making for the first, I'll say like 7 weeks. Because when D-Hop got here, those New Orleans and Tampa Bay weeks, he looked like Pat. He looked like himself. And obviously the Buffalo game was a little antsy. There were some protection mishaps we had in that game. But overall, since we got D-Hop here, like DG said, their trust has grown every week. Hell, the first game D-Hop was in the city. First 2 touchdowns on Monday night. So that shows you how much he trusts him. And that's when not even having in the building, not even a whole 72 hours yet before. So obviously they're going to get better every week. They're going to get much stronger. The 2 greatest areas of improvement that we have done since he got here, we were already done with an offense on third down. We've sustained that since he's gotten here. And our red zone offense has improved. I think we were like 22nd at one point. Now we're up to like 12. So we've gotten back to our somewhat decent standard. Normally we're like top 5 in red zone efficiency, but we've kind of dipped a little bit due to injuries and things like that. So we're slowly getting back to who we are. But D-Hop on third down and red zone, like GG just said, is going to be two of the biggest strengths and improvement this team is going to see going into January. So I love that slant that Pat threw to him. And it was a hedgy slant. It was kind of like a get off the line, take your time. And J.C. Horn was holding the entire game. Jesus Christ. Somebody had a bet with him how many times
struggle bus.
Man, how many penalties can you get in a game, son? Jesus Lord.
Yes.
He took that South Carolina beef to a whole nother level. But he was out there holding for his life on D-Hop. But every time he got off the line, you could tell he don't have the juice to run away from defenders, but he's still D-Hop. Savvy route runner, amazing hands, and he can beat press. I mean, you can do those kind of things with Pat. He's always going to put the ball in the right spot for you to catch it. So that third down play, anytime the ball's thrown to number 8, like DG said, it's a catch or a first down. And you never have to question or worry those things. So, and then when you get into the red zone, we know 87 has been our go-to guy for the last 13 years of his career. So now that we have another guy that we can depend on that can dictate coverage and draw double teams, D-Hop getting one-on-one coverage, leaving him wide open is going to lead to a lot of touchdowns. And we saw that when he first got here, and then it continued on Sunday as well in Carolina. So overall, Pat's made better decisions, and I think that comes with obviously him just being more committed to the grind, being committed to the work. And like we said on the last show, reaction show on Sunday, it's kind of like human nature. The greatest threat to success is complacency. And we've been very successful in this organization for a long time, for the last 7-8 years. So, well, really the last decade. Shout out to Andy Reid with 10+ wins for a decade straight. We've had a lot of wins and a lot of success in Kansas City. And I can understand as players, they kind of maybe dip away from their technique, dip away from their learning habits, and start practicing bad habits and not playing the correct way because you've just been doing things for so long. You think you could just go out there and just wing it instead of like respecting the game, respecting your craft, and watching your film and dedicating yourself to the work. And sometimes you need a bad game, a bad loss, or an ugly win, as some people say in Carolina, to get yourself re-locked in again. And I think Pat's done that over the last 2 weeks. His footwork has gotten better. Decision-making has gotten better. He's getting rid of the ball quicker. And I think we kind of know what we are as an offense now. And I think he can kind of work with that to know, okay, I can't take as many deep shots. Maybe not as many 7-step drops are involved in the game plan. If I'm Andy or Nagy, I would kind of take that out a little bit and just know there's time and a place when you can take your deep shots to when to trust your O-line and when to know they're in rhythm via running the football, taking the pressure off of them so they don't have to be in pass pro as much. And then we know they won't have they're still going to have their plays where they give up blocks, but just not as many. And I think when we do that, have more balance with Pacheco, that'll help Pat see the pocket cleaner. The O-line will have more confidence, and then we'll finally hit those deep shots more to Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, and all the other guys too.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily a circumstance where they had to hit those deep shots. The gravity of Xavier Worthy alone, and specifically as it pertains to the Noah Gray touchdown to begin with, was something that was able to open things up. And we'll talk about Xavier Worthy a little bit later on, but it's coming together as far as what this offense needs to be able to put Patrick Mahomes in a position to succeed. And now he is being able to return the favor as being able to get the job done from that perspective as well. So moving on from the offense, and again, encouraging signs moving in the right direction. Defense not necessarily looking the same. And this week was kind of a continuation of last week, in which you saw some very specific issues show up on tape as far as safeties and coverage, obviously some cornerback 2 struggles, and ultimately the pass rush being non-existent. I thought they did a solid job as far as Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks were concerned. I think they ran for under 4 yards a carry ultimately. So that's all you can really ask for. The Chiefs' run defense continues to be stout, but there are issues certainly as far as versus the pass. Bryce Young made some really nice throws, and that deserves to be mentioned for a kid that has obviously had his struggles coming into the year, just the year, but just coming into his career. And obviously had been lauded as far as being the number 1 draft pick, but he was able to make a few throws specifically versus blitz, being able to diagnose some stuff for his back. So talk to me a little bit as far as the defense. It feels like a broken record at this point. Just feels like the pass rush is not getting home, and right now that's put in a secondary that obviously is missing its second best cornerback in a bad spot right now. So how do you guys feel about the defensive performance, particularly versus the pass?
Go ahead, CJ.
I mean, overall, we put most of the onus, and DG's kind of been saying it the last couple of weeks. I put the onus on the D-line and really the front seven as a whole, because we know coming into the season we expected to have Jalen Watson step up and be our CB2, and he played well to the expectation that most of us thought he would play, but unfortunately he went down with injury. So now we have other guys playing out of position, trying to cover up for the weaknesses that we have. And in that absence, our D-line and our linebackers have to be better. So winning your one-on-one rushes, hitting on your blitzes, beating blocks, there's no excuse for why we're not doing those things right now. Obviously, we don't have the same talent in the room like we did last year, which is true. But a lot of the plays are there to be made, should be made. There's no excuse of not being the play. The standard is the standard with this D-line group. We've been top 2 in sacks the last 2 out of the last 3 years, I believe. And that's with a lot of guys coming in and out of this defensive room and as far as the defensive unit. So the plays are there to be made. We just aren't making them right now. There's no excuses. We're having our one-on-ones, and I'm sure we'll break down more clips later on in the show. But the biggest guys I'm having, the biggest issue for me is George Karlaftis and Drew Tranquil. They're amazing players. They've been great for us the last few years, but they're not good enough right now. I'm seeing a lot of plays where they're not beating one-on-one blocks. You're getting covered up way too much. They're timing the blitzes. They're off, like I said, they're either second too early or second too late as far as getting to the quarterback, not getting their hands up in time. You're not always going to sack the quarterback like me and DG have been saying for the last month. It's just about getting there and disrupting their timing, whether it be containing the quarterback or getting in his line of vision to where he can't make the throw. But some of the things, like little nuances when we're blitzing, we have to get better at. And I'm sure they're watching the same things on film like we're seeing, but those are the biggest things for me on the defensive right now. Our blitzes and our rushes, we're not winning our one-on-one matchups right now, and we have to do that if we want to go do our job and try to win another Super Bowl.
Look, I'll just say real quick before DG goes, this is indicative of what CJ is just going out there, and they drop off George Karlaftis here into the middle of the field to try and create some space. But ultimately speaking, it is only 4, but you're trying to play with their protections because Chris Jones is going to take so much attention, and here he essentially takes 3 guys out of the protection scheme.
You have to win right here.
You get Drew Tranquil one-on-one with Chuba Hubbard. I'm not saying he's not he's not like a terrible pass protection back, but this is the linebacker has to win this rep and make it difficult for Bryce Young to make this throw. And ultimately speaking, this is thrown with a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of credit that's got to be given to Bryce Young here. And to make this throw was very good over the linebackers. Karlaftis in this case dropping like a linebacker into the money onto.
He literally is not doing nothing. He's just standing there eating up air. Why are we? Spags, if you're going to have somebody dropping coverage, at least do that when you expect somebody to be in this area. There's nobody around George. He's wasting space. If you're going to cover somebody. He just sitting there covering grass. Have him rush if you're going to do that. I get like Spags trying to get cute with his little DN matches. I get it when it's a running back out of the backfield, maybe not as like as explosive or not a fast-paced player. I get that. Or maybe a slower DN or a tight end, sorry. But having George dropping the coverage to cover nothing, that's a waste of a play. Like, I'm putting that on Spags. Like, why is George sitting there covering nobody? Either rush him or have him cover a player, not just drop into. George Karlaftis does not need to drop in zone ever in his life. Let's be honest. Like, stop doing that. If you're covering a man, I get you. Not a zone. That's not George Karlaftis' game. He should either be rushing or maybe covering a tight end out the flat. That is it. Go ahead.
Now, here's the thing. You call this blitz on 3rd and 2, so that kind of makes it difficult from this standpoint. You can't put a Leo Chanel or Joshua Uche at the edge in this case because you're afraid of the run from that standpoint. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, it's just very difficult in the circumstances that you're operating with to drop out Mike Dana and George Karlaftis in this case.
What do you expect? Like, come on, jeez, Lord.
And again, this is a really good throw by Bryce Young, but it's also a throw that's available because the linebackers do not get depth because they're defensive ends that are dropping. So, yeah, unfortunate there. DG, go ahead. I'll let you give your thoughts as far as the defense is concerned.
Yeah, just specifically speaking to Sunday, I'm not sure what the game plan was from Spags. I won't say I'm not sure. I don't agree with the game plan on Sunday from Spagnuolo. I think it was a little too overly aggressive when you didn't have to be. I think you were facing a guy in Bryce Young who's at this point still trying to figure some things out, still trying to figure out this league and stuff like that. So I just think it got to a point where it got a little bit too over aggressive with some of the blitzes, especially when they're not getting home and they're not hitting on those. I think you have to kind of revert to dropping more guys into coverage and making those passing lanes for Bryce Young a little bit tighter, and making him make a little bit tougher decisions in those, especially on 3rd down. Yeah, I'm just at this point. I'm just severely disappointed in the way that George Karlaftis, to me, has played. I think it in what we are in year 4 of Karlaftis, 3.
Him and Trent.
Year 3 for him. Yeah, man. I just expected to see a little bit more at this point, especially when you get so many one-on-one matchups. Knowing that you have Chris Jones, one of the best defensive tackles in the league, taking on double teams or sometimes even getting triple teamed at points in times. I just would expect them to be a little bit better. I did see I saw some flashes from Mike Dana a little bit, or he did have the 1 sack. I think it's one of the first big plays that the Panthers had on their drive. I think it was a throw to Xavier Legette. Dana pretty much got held.
Yeah, he did do a rip move on that play.
Yeah,
because it's you're not gonna get the flag when
right.
You do a rip move.
Nah, I understand it. It's just it's one of those things that I did see him try to at least get some effort, and there was some flash there at points in times, but I do think there are points where he has to be better as well too, especially with the money that we paid him in the offseason as well too. Don't expect double-digit sacks or anything like that, but to at least be an effective pass rusher like we paid you, to be serviceable at this point. And I just don't think we've gotten that. I know he's dealt with a little bit of injury up to this point, but coming off of that, just seems like he's still trying to work his way back into it. The one thing that I do hate seeing at this point is I do think our defensive ends, and I don't know if this is something that they're seeing as well too, but I think they're all getting a little bit too far up the field at points, trying to create that arc or bend that corner, and I think there's a lot of times where they're just over pursuing and not keeping their rush integrity. Sometimes I feel like it's necessarily not about sacking the quarterback or getting to the quarterback, but squeezing that pocket and making it a little bit more tighter in there for opposing QBs at this point, and maybe running some of these QBs into some sacks at points in times. So I think that they could be a little bit better at that. The secondary, I mean, what can you do when you lose your CB2 and Jalen Watson, who I felt like brought a lot of juice to this team. A lot of people doubted him in training camp and thought he couldn't hold that position down, and he proved a lot of people wrong. And then you lose him, and now you're forced to thrust other guys in there at this point that are kind of playing out of position at this point. You got two safeties playing corner right at this point, and I think they're doing just about as good as they could possibly do up until this point. I do think Shamari Connor had a rough game on Sunday. I think he was, to me, in my opinion, probably one of the worst guys in that defensive backfield on Sunday. Just not favorable matchups really for him. A lot of, especially playing in the slot. Then you got your best corner having to play on the outside, and he's a lot, an all pro in the slot. So it's just tough right now, especially for what that secondary is dealing with. But I do think that they have been serviceable enough for you to at least get off the field at points in times. I think if the pass rush is a little bit better, I think that secondary will look a lot better at this point. But, yeah, it works hand in hand, man. The pass rush, the trenches, I feel like is where the game is really won, and they gotta be better if they want to go 3-peat this year.
Yeah, can't disagree one bit. I have two quick questions for you guys, and I want to get your thoughts as far as this is concerned. And so one is going to be positive, one's going to be negative. We're going to start with the negative, especially while we're on the subject, specifically the defense. I think that I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. To me, this starts up front. This team has got to play better, and we'll talk about Charles Omeni who being added. Joshua Uche hopefully can add something as far as the edge pressure is concerned. Obviously, other guys got to win. We saw Mike Daniel have one-on-one win, which was nice, and he caused the strip sack. But that has to be more often, not only from him, it has to happen from Tershawn Ward, it has to happen from George Karlaftis, to say the least. The question for you guys is, what type of tweaks and experimenting do you think they should do down the stretch? Do you think that they should try and put Joshua Williams on the outside and have Najee Johnson on the outside and then have Trent McDuffie move back to the slot and say, hey, at least we can get a little bit better, maybe of man coverage options out there. You keep Najee Johnson, on the outside as well, and then improve our slot standpoint as well. And then just try and play it that way to get Shamari Connor off of some of these wide receiver matchups that are giving them issues. Do you guys think that they should go back to try and give Chris Roland Wallace some of those slot snaps as well, so that they get better of a more true corner aspect out there? Or do you think that they should go to Joshua Williams just straight up over Najee Johnson, more specifically for those man coverage snaps, but also just in general? Like, what are some of those tweaks? Do any of those three tweaks sound appealing to you guys from that perspective?
I think it's more so just about matchups. And I said that coming into the year, even before Jalen Watson went down, this DB group is going to be based off matchups because we don't have the guys to just match up with anybody we see like we did with Snead. With Snead and Trent, you could just match up regardless. You don't care who the receiver is, who the tight end is out there. You love your coverage and you love your one-on-one matchups, which allows you to have more exotic blitzes. This year, I think our group is more matchup dependent, and it's not a bad thing. It's just being realistic with the group we have. Guys can play. I think we just need to know who their opponent is and who we're going up on a week-to-week basis. So, like I said, coming into the season, the weeks where we're playing more tight end heavy teams, I would like to see Shamari Connor play in our slot. Now we're playing more receiver heavy teams. Maybe we can get Josh in there, so maybe we can give Trent some slot reps as well to teams that can have really good receivers that get open the middle of the field. So the next couple of weeks are obviously teams that don't have the most explosive receivers. Obviously, we're playing the Raiders this week, so they don't have that many weapons. We're seeing Aiden O'Connell again. And then obviously Devontae Adams is not there, so that's not really as big of an issue for me this week. So this week is not really a huge adjustment period for me. I think the biggest test for us will be when we see teams like probably Pittsburgh, because they have a lot of guys that can get open. Like Mike Williams can get open, George Pickens can get open. They use Pat Freiermuth a lot, so that'll be a good matchup for Shamari. Then obviously when we get towards the later on in the season, seeing the Texans, seeing Nico Collins, seeing Tank Dell, teams that have multiple receivers that can make plays. Those will be weeks where we need to have Josh play, because maybe having more of a slot presence, because Nico, a lot of his plays come from the slot when he makes big plays down the field as far as long receptions of that sort. So this DB group is.
Nope. We lost CJ temporarily. There he is.
Dang. Okay, I'm back.
Sayonara.
Sayonara. We just have to be phone calls. Don't let anybody call you at work. But no, I think we just have to be just more selective with the plays we have on defense and just being realistic with the group we have. Obviously, there's a lot of things we want to do on defense that we just can't do right now, and it's not a bad thing. It just have to be. It's just the same thing with offense, timing and knowing your place and time when you can call certain things. And I think this defense needs to be matchup dependent. So when we see really good receivers, I would like to see Trent maybe more in the slot. When we're seeing teams that are more run heavy, then maybe we can go with our 3 safety looks like we normally do. So I think it's just based off who we play for sure.
Yeah, I think if I had to boil it down, it'd probably be option A, which would be thinking about playing Josh Williams a little bit more in some of these because Chiefs tend to play a lot more man to man, and rotating Trent McDuffie back into that slot role, especially when you play teams like CJ said that are a lot more receiver heavy. I think that would have been a good week to do it this week, especially because I think that's where a lot of the Panthers' success came from, was out of the slot, and it's just a place Shamari Connor is not the guy in the slot there. I think it'd be better for him to be back in that kind of that robber safety role again and covering tight ends up until this point. I think he's really, really, really effective at that, and I think he's also really effective as a blitzer as well too. So I think it'd be indicative to get him back into that role at this point in time. I know a lot of people don't like Josh Williams just based off the fact that there are penalties that come with that. Especially when you're causing penalties on special teams, so it's kind of hard to trust Josh Williams at this point in time to say, go out there and line up man to man and do your job and not have any devastating penalties up to this point. But I think it comes down to a point where you're just gonna have to kind of live with it, because it's forcing your hand to put Trent, who I feel like is out of position at this point. And not saying that he's been bad on the boundary. I think he's still been a great boundary corner as well as he's been a slot corner. But I think he's elite when he's able to do his job and play in the slot and eliminate those guys effectively. And we've all seen how this league is moving to this point in time. Like the slot is primary position at this point, because you can just get so many mismatches and advantages at that point. So I think it's indicative for them to put their best player back into the role that he plays the best, and just live with it up until this point. I don't see the hate why Najee Johnson is still receiving so much hate up until this point. I think he really responded well to the criticism of the previous week and played a lot better this week. There was a lot of times where he was in position, and I think he can handle being out there on his own on that boundary side. I think he plays with sticky coverage. May not possess the ability to turn around or force interception or anything like that at this point, but I think he's been in position both a couple times and be able to force some really tough either contested catches or force some incompletions to this point. So yeah, I think it's really a simple fix. They're just gonna have to deal with the growing pains of putting Josh Williams out there and allowing him to kind of play his brand of football, and just living with the results to see what happens, man. But I think it's imperative for them to give Trent McDuffie back in the slot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's out of position, because to your point, he is just as elite outside as far as I'm concerned, as far as in the inside. It's just, I think that you actually have the opportunity, similar to how we talk about things along the offensive line, where if you move, for example, Joe Tooney out to left tackle, I think that there's a chance you make left tackle worse and then also make your left guard significantly worse. I think it's the opposite here, where if you move Trent McDuffie inside, I think you have a chance to improve upon two aspects, in the sense of better outside corner play, at least from the boundary of playing man-to-man guys, the physicality that Joshua Williams does thrive under. And then you can play some type of combo coverage with Najee Johnson on the other side as well Trent McDuffie in the slot then gives you a little bit more versatility as well to deal with those wide receivers that are continuing to give us issues, whether it's the David Moores of the world or the Adam Thielens of the world that we saw victimize us because they had two-way goes to take advantage of. And so Shamari Conner just isn't necessarily equipped to handle those things right now as we talk about safeties trying to play real cornerback positions, which nickel is still a cornerback position. Even at times on early downs, we say that it can bring those safety aspects of it. So it is a difficult spot right now, and they kind of have too many safeties given that Jaden Hicks isn't even getting that many snaps, and they're lacking corner options. But it is one of those things where I trust Spags to figure out what the right permutations are down the stretch. It's just, hey, are you going to get the actual up front defensive line play that's going to make it matter, because these guys got to get after the passer one way or another. So the other question I had really quickly, just rapid fire. Do you think I'm crazy that I think Patrick Mahomes is still in the MVP race?
I don't think I wouldn't say you're crazy, but
it's highly unlikely.
Yes, very unlikely.
It's too late.
I think he can get on the horse.
If he would have got going after that Saints Bucks game, that was the week I was saying it could have been the turn. If he would have started hitting like some 275, 300-yard, 2-touchdown, 3-touchdown games every week starting then, but I think he had a couple of duds. Not to our standard, but overall MVPs. Lamar started off crazy hot. Josh Allen beat him in the one-on-one. Saquon's looking like freaking prime Marshall Faulk out there. It's just a lot of guys that are balling right now. If he plays well the rest of the way, he could get sneaked back in there. But I think overall, it's probably going to end up being Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson for MVP this year, realistically.
Yeah, I think
it's just too late. We're like week 12 now. It's just too late in the season.
He had to go like some crazy run.
Yeah, he got to do something stupid like 300, 400-yard
touchdowns.
Yeah, he got
no interceptions.
I'm just saying, don't rule it out, because he's in striking distance in a lot of these.
If you want to take a wager, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
He's in striking distance in a lot of these categories. We expect the Chiefs are going to stay at the top of the AFC standings at this point. I think we do agree with that. Lamar Jackson, nice win versus the Chargers. He didn't have gaudy numbers, but nice win versus the Chargers. Ultimately, they're 2 games back of that division. I don't think that they're going to give it to a non-division runner. Josh Allen is in a very good position. I think he should lead the race right now. We'll see how that progresses, but they might have a few losses on their schedule coming up. I don't think it's
next 3 weeks are crucial.
Next 3 weeks. They're going to play the Lions. And then we also have, Saquon Barkley, who's balling out as a running back. But I'll be honest with you, running back ain't winning. I'm sorry to tell you that.
They definitely ain't.
It's great.
I'm
happy to see Saquon Barkley balling out. He should be Offensive Player of the Year. They're not going to give it to a running back.
He's not getting MVP. He's not getting
it. So that was just my really quick question I wanted to ask. So time for our Tell the Truth tape of the week as far as Xavier Worthy. And the reason why I wanted to, specifically focus on his aspects of this. This is the same time last year in which we started to see Rashee Rice get consistent production as a part of the Chiefs' rookie wide receiver plans and development scheme brought along. Now, this was not necessarily what was supposed to happen with Xavier Worthy this year. I think that they were going to bring him along a lot slower than they probably have had to this point. But I think we've seen the fruits of that labor start to pay off here as far as the season has worn on. And I think it really kind of honed in as far as, remember, that second drive last week versus the Buffalo Bills. We saw that carry over to some of the things that he was able to do versus the Carolina Panthers. So I just went back and grabbed kind of every single completion that we have from Xavier Worthy of the last few weeks. And we're going to start here. This is going to be probably his most impressive completion of the entire season, which is that corner route versus what is a very good slot
catch.
Corner in Teron Johnson, taking a hit from Taylor Rapp in the back pause. And still being able to catch that ball effectively as well. And I really did like it is his ability to play through contact here. And I think it's important to emphasize that, especially because everybody likes to harp on his size, which was a topic of camp as well. He's playing through contact through the entirety of this route and then able to separate with some help from DeAndre Hopkins and be able
body
to catch that ball there.
Big body.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's crazy.
You run that deep
looks
over.
like he can actually play in this league, huh?
Deep over.
Wow.
Okay.
All those people that question the weight and the height, you're looking bad right now.
Boom. Give me that.
You're
Big boy kick.
looking kind of stupid at this point.
First down. Let's go.
Screen work. Your life.
Your life.
So look, this is one of those plays where obviously on the box score it doesn't look like anything special, and also I think that some people in layman's terms will be like, oh well, you had a screen in this play, but he also has a fight off a little bit of press there, threatens and creates an angle for Jawan Taylor to get a little bit of the cornerback on him there. I think that's Russell Douglas out there.
Keep your feet.
Yeah, I know he's upset.
I love the tempo he played. Where he caught the ball and immediately turned up. He rolled into it. That's a good ball placement by Pat because you got to be able to catch the ball and run. So great ball placement. But like DG said, if you keep your feet, he breaks down Taylor Rapp. I think that is number 9. He jukes him and gets into the end zone if he keeps his feet right here. So
yeah, absolutely. If he keeps his feet there, that's a touchdown. And so just a real quick screen pass, nothing crazy there. This next one though, I think is a little bit of the shades of what we saw from Rashee Rice over the kind of more middle last portion of last season as well, where comfortable and when Patrick Mahomes gets these kind of looks where he's like, all right, guys are dropping out, I see them dropping out, I'm gonna get this ball out of my hands quickly and just give this guy a chance to be explosive. And Xavier Worthy obviously doesn't have the body type of Rashee Rice, but he still can be plenty explosive because of acceleration, and there he's able to do so, catching that really short stick route and be able to create some yards after the catch. And a little bit of trust there for Patrick Mahomes to Xavier Worthy on that specific play.
Routes too? What?
Savvy.
Are you serious? So you're telling me he can play? He can play through contact.
I love a good slide concept.
And he can run routes?
Oh, boy.
Here we get a little
bit. Kiss, DJ.
I thought he was just a speed guy. Sam. Oh. Wow.
I love a good slide concept. I love slide concepts in the red zone. And I called I posted this clip the day before the game. And I told you, I sent you our group chat. I said, we're going to run this play because it's such a good concept, especially with a guy like Zay who's so fast. You get him running full speed or like Miko, anybody at that speed. When they get the ball at a full speed motion going across the field, all 53 yards, you're not guarding them going to the sideline, bro. They're probably going to beat more than likely who that linebacker, I think is at Simmons, whoever that is for them. You're probably going to beat that guy to the sideline every time. So I love this play call.
Yeah, and look, this is where that acceleration comes into play, and everybody's like, oh, the speed. Yeah, the speed is great. The acceleration is great, and people will be like, what he can do down the field. But it also shows up in these moments in which you're able to destroy the linebacker's ankle and get to that pylon before anybody else can tackle you and create that touchdown. Good job by Mahomes, and that little, slide jet motion action creates a touchdown on this play.
What ankle?
What ankle? Love the fact that I think a lot of people slept on the fact of him coming out of Texas that of what Sark down in Sark runs down there in Texas is a lot of what you see in the league as well too, the concepts, routes, where to be on the field. So I think a lot of people slept on how cerebral Xavier Worthy is as well too, and how much he actually understands football, even at his young age up until this point. I think a lot of that has to do with his experience and what he learned playing under Sark in Texas.
There's one aspect of this play that I didn't mention that I want to mention. Really nice job there because in this play, I feel like it's important to point these things out because these are the hidden values that Patrick Mahomes brings to the table. The Bills obviously have 2 linebackers walked up here, 43-39, Teron Johnson, number 7's over there sniffing. But they motion over to kind of give a little bit of an indicator of what the Bills may be going into. They go from the bunch to the 2x2 set. And DeMar sort of runs with them, but also is kind of running with them just as change sides. And that tells Mahomes that this isn't going to be man-to-man, that they're not going to be sending that level of a blitz either. And from that standpoint, that just gives him the indication that he's like, all right, I'm going to get this ball. I'm going to get the ball out very quickly to Xavier Worthy in some space and create some yards after the catch. So I just always like to, give 15 his props.
Good indicators. You're bumping? Okay, bump coverage means his own. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of some defensive keys that he sees beforehand as well. We'll see a replay of Xavier Worthy here. But so that was a little bit of the summary of what he was able to bring to the table and development that we saw versus the Buffalo Bills. Now we can and we can now transition over to him versus the Carolina Panthers. I think you saw another level of ability to be used in the short intermediate areas for him. This is just a quick hitch route versus zone coverage, but essentially locked up with J.C. Horn on the backside of the play or at the bottom.
Mr. Hold a lot.
Specifically. Yeah, Mr. Hold a lot. Mr. Hold a lot is great. Mr.
Hey,
Hold a
bro
lot
got like 3 holding calls in one
Mr.
drive.
Hold a lot is insanity.
And I like J.C. Horn. Why is he holding?
I like him too.
I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ.
I don't know who holds more, him or Sauce Gardner. But
Man.
Lord, at this point,
Find somebody that's gonna hold on to
I was
you
like,
the way
bruh,
that J.C. Horn holds on to receiver.
I was looking at the Panthers like, bro, get him off of DeAndre Hopkins because he cannot guard him.
He had a personal vendetta. I ain't letting
Yeah.
D-Hop get me off the line.
Here's the thing. I mean, J.C. Horn is a guy that likes to play physical. And guess what? DeAndre Hopkins is like, oh, you want to live in physicality world. Young blood. You don't know what you're signing up for.
You don't know
this
you
is
want to do that,
old man
young blood.
strength. I promise you. This is I feel God strength. So Xavier Worthy here at the bottom, and Horn isn't necessarily pressing him. He is kind of mirroring him off the line. But again, acceleration to threaten, what down the sideline can look like, and that J.C. Horn will have to get on his horse if he wants to keep up with Xavier Worthy down the sideline, and then immediately puts on the brakes and creates that separation. And Mahomes trusts him on time, puts it on him, and obviously there's a nice little game to start out the new fresh start to downs as well. So again, the use of him kind of short and intermediate areas I thought was really good. Goes in motion, create that 2x2 set here, and a little bit, kind of in return, get outside, and a key third down conversion early on in the game as well. And look, again,
A lot of stuff we saw from Rashid last year.
Exactly, especially those return routes. Like they love using those pivot routes with Rashid, especially out of the slot too, because it's so much of an advantage.
Easy
when you
work.
have a guy with that acceleration as well. And again,
why would you ever give him a free release? Why would you ever?
Well, hey, look, this is something that we talked about all training camp, right? Hey guys, I know y'all want to talk about that one clip of him getting pressed off the line. It's kind of hard to press somebody when they're going in motion from one side of the field to the other side of the field. And these are the advantages that Andy Reid can't create with these guys, especially when you have that speed. So again, man coverage indicator because of the pre-snap motion. Xavier Worthy going to go ahead and run this route because the guy is playing him from death, and there's plenty of room for him to work underneath and create some yards after the catch there for a key conversion.
Playing depth from coverage with a guy like that is probably, and obviously that shows you how much they respect his speed. They're
ball was tipped too.
Yeah.
Yes,
ball was tipped, and he still caught it too. It was a good concentration for sure.
Thank you for mentioning that because I forgot that aspect.
I remember that play.
as well.
He got piece on it. Yeah, he got piece.
Yep. And you can see how the ball is shaped right now. It's not
Point
exactly
like
a tight spiral. No, that thing is fluttering in the air, and that's a really good concentration from Xavier Worthy to be able to bring that ball in.
Catch it, and then have the presence of mind to get upfield.
Yeah. That's a great play, one.
Yeah.
Great play.
Absolutely. And so this next route, again, working at the bottom of the screen with Justin Watson. Really nice way of tempoing the route, using that acceleration to create that separation. To me, this was the best play of the day from Xavier Worthy as far as wide receiver was concerned.
You can tell by his reaction that that's the route they've been really working on. Just watch his reaction at the end.
He's like, finally.
Yes, you can tell. Like everything came together right there. That's something I think that him and Pat have been working on. They probably haven't been able to hit it as much, especially maybe even in practice. Just him trying to learn the tempo of that route. But you could tell he was really proud.
And the DB, you can see him just dropping because he knows, bro, if I don't get my depth, this guy's gonna run right by me. And I would like to see. Only thing I would say, Zay, is like don't chop your feet as much. But overall, he got out of that break as best as he could. And the DB was still scared, even when he overchopped by like a couple steps. Because you want to have at least 2 or 3 steps max when you're getting out of a break. And he did that flawlessly. And number 2 is scared to death right now when he sees Zay.
And it's also the little nuances that I think were important because, again, this is Xavier Worthy is a guy that from a freshman year at Texas was making an impact for that big of a program for a reason. And it's not just the athleticism because he does have an understanding of the actual, the actual position that he's playing. But notice there, it's going to happen like around the 52-yard mark, or I should say technically 48-yard mark, I should say, but 2 yards past the 50. He's going to tempo his route a little bit and then also take a step inside just to sell that double post there to number 2 and get those hips fully open to the sideline in that back pedal. And those are the little nuances that create separation that he's able to use to break off this out route. And everything's in structure. I know obviously it looks like Mahomes is out of the pocket. He must have scrambled. No, this is a play action type of aspect where they're running the offensive line to the left, creating a nice open space for Mahomes to roll off of. This is on time, on target, and on tempo where exactly Mahomes wants to deliver this football. And Xavier Worthy runs this route pretty much to perfection as far as the timing is concerned to create this window for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I love the idea of the moving pockets as well too, giving the defense kind of something else to look at besides Mahomes, having Mahomes just kind of drop back.
Yeah,
5 steps, 7 steps. Yeah.
Make the defense guard all 53 yards for sure.
And then utilizing Xavier's speed on this, it can also be used as a weapon in the short and intermediate game. Just because you see off the line, corner thinks maybe it's
gotta respect it.
Yeah, gotta respect the speed, be able to put on the brakes, turn around, find the ball. I love the reaction. Just love the reaction because I know he was proud of that moment.
No, that's what anytime you run those speed outs, or we call those post outs or double moves, like DMac said, you're trying to sell the post. So usually you either go 1-2, and then you can break a post multiple ways. That's why I love post combos. You can run post curl, post dig, post speed out, post comeback, whatever you decide to do off of that. In this case, it was a post out. So obviously he gets to about 12 to 13 yards, takes one step, breaks on the post, and breaks back to a speed out. So, and you obviously have to think about your leverage on the corner as well. If he's really on your hip, then you have to bring that route back down to the quarterback to help his angle. You don't want to come too flat to give the DB a chance to make the play. You see how Zay comes down to the ball, and Pat throws it that way as well. So the DB doesn't have a chance to cut him off. So both nuances by Pat and Zay were good on that play. You can tell they like DG said.
Thank you for mentioning that specifically about coming back to the football.
He's going to cut you off if you don't. You got to come back.
Mahomes is throwing this ball low towards him for a specific reason, and those are the little nuances that you need wide receivers to be on the same page for as well. And to your point, as far as cornerback leverage, it too has the outside leverage here. It's because of the speed threat. It's because of the tempo. It's because of the nuance of the route threatening the post that you create the outside leverage in that sense. And that's something that I think has been underrated as far as Xavier Worthy's game is concerned. And we're seeing it show up some at times as well. Last play here is going to be kind of a speed out from this standpoint. We're going to get through this as well. Shout out to DeAndre Hopkins in the middle of the field as well. Had to sell that game and also caught the touchdown. But this here just 3-by-1, and we got the bunch set at the bottom. And again, just a nice speed out on time, runs it at the correct depth. Most importantly, I will say very specifically, runs it at the correct depth to go ahead and get that. And Mahomes just hits the top of the drop, lets it go. Excellent timing, pitch and catch, and that's a first down conversion. That's
no hitch. I love that. Get in and out. The quicker you get in and out of your break, the easier it's going to be for you to catch the ball for receivers. Like the less pitch pass you have, the less we call it diddy dabbling. Like don't be patting your feet. Get in and out your break. 2 to 3 steps max. Even more so speed. That's a 1. It's like boom, get out of there. And you already got 3 yards of separation. Come flat, ball's going to be on you, catch the ball, make a play. So, and that's the timing by Pat too as well.
Yeah, I love the awareness not to be so choppy out of the route. You see a lot of guys come in this league and they run that route so slow.
Beating the drum.
Exactly. Yeah, and trying to throttle down and
just get out of there.
Yeah, just use your what you're good at, your advantage, your speed. And I feel like that's something Xavier Worthy is very aware of at this point in time, knowing that a lot of people have to respect his downfield speed.
That's a great concept by Andy too.
Yeah.
Because you see how he's making 23 run out so he can't make that play.
Running back real quick.
Yeah, run that back.
I think you got Trav open as well.
Yeah, Trav. He's like the delay.
DeAndre Hopkins beats JC Horn at the bottom of the screen too. So it's a good job of everybody winning on this play. But I assume that Xavier Worthy's probably the primary off of this play from the standpoint of he just has that speed out. But to your point,
he probably goes 1, 2, 3, 1 Trav, then D Hop. Yep.
Yeah, and then goes to backside dig or slant backside. And
Juju's probably like a clear out because he has to have outside leverage to where that 23 can't make that play on the ball. So now it's only him and number 2 1-on-1 with again cushion. Anytime you give a DB with cushion on Zay, like you guys said earlier, I'm taking that matchup every day of the week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Juju also he makes it difficult for the underneath guy to get to Kelsey, but also the clear out aspect of it. If they decide to play this with some type of combo coverage, maybe that ends up popping open because they misplay that from that standpoint too.
Absolutely.
The thing I did want to say specifically to your point as far as the footwork and not having chop in your feet to get out of this break. Xavier Worthy is a guy with, again, the acceleration and the speed to create that separation all by himself. He doesn't need to do extra stuff from that standpoint. And I hate to make this comparison, but I do have to say it. What we saw from Sky Moore is way too often he's using extra steps because he feels like he needs that to create that separation. Whereas Xavier Worthy is just gliding in and out of these routes because he knows his speed alone is going to be able to do so as long as he runs the route.
I think it's like a 6-step out. I think you see how his inside foot is up. I think if I counted my steps right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it was a 6-step that Zay did. Inside foot is up, so he's going to break on his inside foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And puts it on the money for Patrick Mahomes to go ahead and convert. So, again, this is something just to show the growth of Xavier Worthy, first-round wide receiver, some guy, I think that maybe in the middle of the season there were question marks as far as what he was able to bring to the table. Not perfect yet. We didn't see any deep shots necessarily in this game, but I do think that this is a part of what you're going to continue to see snowball effect down the back half of the season. And why I say about, Patrick Mahomes being in the MVP conversation is these guys are going to continue to help evolve with this offense, can get the job done. That doesn't include getting guys back. And it's nice to see, them being kind of aggressive as far as first down plays are concerned, whether it's a play action on the play before, or this one is just a straight drop back. Hey, catch the defense a little bit off guard. You've been running the ball so well on early downs. Now you can take advantage of it, kind of on some of the later downs as well. So shifting gears, we want to talk a little bit of a season-long full view before we kind of hone in on the Black Friday game as well, given that there is a Thanksgiving holiday that is coming up. And CJ kind of, spoke to it a little bit earlier as well when he alluded to something. But I did want to say the first thing that I think we all should be thankful for, of course, is this. 10 straight seasons with at least 10 wins under Andy Reid, man.
Sheesh.
Absolutely.
I remember life before 2013. It wasn't fun. It was not fun before 2013, boy. It was not a good time.
Man.
Some dark days with Todd Haley, boy. Herm Edwards, Romeo Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
Some dark days.
Yeah. Yeah, really appreciative of Andy Reid. His 10 years since he's been here. Completely, utterly turned this franchise around. Definitely gonna be, first ballot Hall of Famer. Up until this point, probably arguably one of the greatest head coaches to ever, grace this sport at this point. And definitely gonna be remembered a lot more for being the Chiefs head coach than the Eagles head coach. So.
Shots fired.
Shout out to that.
Yes, and you're looking at what is a historic run. They are only the third team to have a decade-long streak of at least double-digit wins. The 2003 to 2019 Patriots had it for 17 straight years, and the 83 to 98 San Francisco 49ers had it 16 straight. So
elite company.
Elite company, with the best of the best as far as long decade-plus long runs of sustained success are concerned. And that's what Andy Reid has brought to Chiefs Kingdom. So I'll ask CJ to go ahead and start us off as far as what he is thankful for so far this Chiefs season is concerned.
I am thankful for Steve Spagnuolo, best defensive coordinator in football, in my opinion, if you ask me. We have had a lot of turnover in this organization on offense for the last couple of years. And it's honestly, and I say this all the time, it's ironic because obviously the offense has carried this team for the last 7-8 years since Andy Reid came to Kansas City and when Patrick Mahomes took over as a starting quarterback. So the fact that our offense has had so many turnovers with dropped passes, injuries, guys not being able to run the right routes, the shuffle of the offensive line we've had over the last couple of years, and everything has stayed true with this defense no matter who's out there. Mainly Steve Spags and Chris Jones, but they always figure out a way to get stops. They had that streak of not giving them no more than 30 points since the Super Bowl from the Philadelphia game in 2023. So that was a very, very impressive stat. So I love everything he's done with the defense over the last couple of years. He's gotten so many guys paid that have moved on to other teams. We can talk about Charvarius Ward. We can talk about who else is left and gotten paid. Obviously, we had guys move on from the second part of their career, whether it be Frank Clark or Tyrann Mathieu, guys that have come here and played big moments for us, and then they go to other teams and you hear how much respect and admiration they have for Andy Reid and Spags and this organization. And for Spags to be still, in my mind, one of the most underrated coaches in football, I think everything this team has done over the last 2 years, it embodies him as a coach because he never asked for recognition, never asked for his name to be brought up. He just goes and does his job every week and every year. And over the last 2 years, we would not be here without him. And I'm beyond thankful for him and what he's done for this defense, but more importantly, this football team for sure. Because we were not known for defense for a long time. We had some dark days since 2018. We were 32 in a lot of categories. And he changed a lot of that, Bob Sutton. But no, shout out to Spags, man. He's done everything for this defense, and I'm beyond thankful for him.
That's nice.
Yeah.
DG, what about you?
I would say my thanks and praise goes out to Brett Veach for the job that he's done, especially in his tenure since he's taken over as the GM. I love how aggressive he is at points in times during the season, especially this year, where you feel like you needed to replace, some holes on your roster and improve your roster a little bit more. He went out and did that, especially and then, from that to, his drafts, especially these last couple of years. I think he's hit on a lot of guys in his drafts, these last couple of years. Especially he's gotten way better from that first draft that he had as his tenure as the GM here. So I think Brett Veach is doing an incredible job, not only getting guys in the building, but then also being able to financially take care of this franchise and not put us in a point where we can't be aggressive or can't go out there and spend money when we need to and get the players that we need to continue to keep that Super Bowl window open. So I think Brett Veach has done phenomenal for what he's been dealt with up until this point. I know he has a lot of haters out there, people who aren't always satisfied with what he does for this organization, but I wish people would be a lot more grateful knowing that we got a guy like him in our front office controlling the controls and calling the shots. So, Brett Veach, proud of you, dog.
Absolutely. And kind of along those lines, the ways that I always say is Brett Veach and his ability to win on the margins, bringing in guys in the offseason, for practice squad deals that you end up having to rely upon, day 3 picks, UDFAs, small trades that end up paying big dividends. One guy that I think that embodies what this entire team has had to be, kind of remade, and for lack of a better term, over the course of just this regular season alone, because of how many people that they've lost, is a guy that I'm personally thankful for is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is a guy that obviously at the start of his Chiefs career was thought to be the next superstar. Obviously, we had 2 superstars as far as Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill at the time, but this wasn't a Patrick Mahomes-led offense yet. This wasn't the center of the football world yet. But Kareem Hunt took the world by storm in his rookie year, and we know what happened obviously to his departure in Kansas City. But Kareem Hunt's ability then to turn that into a redemption story and really be ready off the couch this year, and call the vet Reach and say, hey guys, if you guys need somebody after Isaiah Pacheco's gone down and you don't feel confident about your running back room, I'm ready to step in. Kareem Hunt has had 577 yards on 155 carries. That's the most carries he's had since 2020. And obviously that's only in 8 games played. He's had 5 touchdowns, 72 yards per game, and he's added 135 yards in the air to step in the way that he has done, having at least 14 carries in every single game and having 20 plus carries, I think in 5 out of those 8 games. Mm-hmm. Insanity to come off the couch and for a guy that's not a spring chicken anymore, to be able to handle that workload, not complain, take the bumps and bruises, and be able to really steady this team and steady this offense in some lean times, as well as they really tried, to lean on the run game, as they've lost tight ends, as they lost wide receivers, they've had guys going in and out. The pass game hasn't connected, but he did a lot to help get this team to this point where on Black Friday we expect to have Isaiah Pacheco back. So my thanks goes out to Kareem Hunt, a guy that has now, I think had a great redemption story as far as Kansas City is concerned. And hopefully will be a part of this 3-peat run and an unsung hero as far as that's concerned. So Kareem Hunt, I'm thankful for you coming back to the Kansas City Chiefs this year, to say the least. So now as far as the Chiefs injury updates are concerned, obviously leading into the Isaiah Pacheco discussion, a lot of moves happened. Okay. There was a lot of things that happened and some of them unfortunately had to happen. So it appears Spencer Schrader had some type of issue. It sounds like it may have been according to Arrowhead Live, that he was an individual workout issue. So Matthew Wright is going to be the kicker. They signed him to the practice squad. They're going to be elevating him for the game on Friday. Matthew Wright, of course, did kick I think it was 59-yarder versus the Lions. No, not the Lions. It was a different team. I can't remember which team it was. Last year when Harrison Butker went down. Was it 2 years ago?
I think was it that Cardinals game? No, that was a different.
Oh, it was the Raiders, I think.
It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. I think it was the Raiders. I think it was the Raiders.
Was it the Raiders game?
Matthew Wright. I can look it up really quickly, but Matthew Wright will be the kicker. I think that they won't end up putting Schrader on the IR simply because they think that they may need an extra cover as far as, whenever Harrison Butker is going to end up coming back. We'll certainly see as far as that's concerned. He played 2 games for us, but I'm not sure.
Justin Reed, get that leg warm, buddy.
We'll see if he ends up handling kickoffs from that standpoint. He kicked in the Tampa Bay game and the Raiders game, and that 63-yarder came in the Raiders game as well. So we'll see what ends up happening as far as that's concerned. But look, he did make all of his kicks for us when he was here, except for 1 field goal. So we'll see as far as that's concerned. Let's hope that we don't need him too much. So that's as far as the kicking situation. Obviously, there were other moves made. Peyton Hendershot apparently came out of yesterday's or Sunday's game with a more significant calf issue than they initially said. As a result, he went on IR. They currently have 2 tight ends healthy on the active roster, and Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. Because obviously they've already lost Jared Wiley and Jody Fortson for the year to this point. Anthony Ferguson currently is on the practice squad, as is Bailey Cupp. Bailey Cupp did play at Texas Tech as well. We'll see if either one of those guys gets elevated. I expect them to, as from that standpoint. For those asking, Greg Dulcich, who was a guy that was released by the Broncos, did get claimed by the Giants today for God knows what reason, as if they care about the rest of their season. And so he'll be headed to the Giants on their active roster as well. That all being said, the Chiefs do stand at 51 active players because they signed DJ Humphries today officially to be, a guy that will be ramping up from a tackle situation. Nate Taylor on Only Weird Games earlier today, and a story that will be coming out tomorrow says that the Chiefs' hope is that he will be able to play versus the Chargers and at the latest versus the Browns. So we'll see how that continues to progress from that standpoint as far as his ramp-up period is concerned. And, of course, that leaves 2 open roster spots that will be expected to be occupied by 2 guys that practiced in full today for the first time in the 2024 season outside of Isaiah Pacheco earlier in the season. Isaiah Pacheco should return on Friday, and Charles Omenihu should return as well on Black Friday versus the Las Vegas Raiders. So, this kind of folds into a little bit of the game preview from this standpoint. Which do you expect to play more as far as the Black Friday game is concerned? And which are you happier to see back?
Both.
Pacheco played obviously both of them. Pacheco's gonna play more, but I'm more excited to see Omenihu back because we need it. Need all the help. Whatever little boost he can give us, even if it's a few snaps here, mismatches, just knowing how to run stunts better, just any help we can get on the defensive line is well appreciated. But definitely, Pacheco will probably play more because he's already played this year. So I think integrating him will be much easier. So his snap count will probably be a little higher. They'll probably still ease Charles Omenihu into it because he's coming off of ACL. So.
Yeah, I fully agree. You'll probably see Pop a little bit more. I'd say I think he's probably going to get maybe 5 to 10 carries in this game just to kind of alleviate a little bit of what Kareem has done and the wear and tear on him at this point. And then just to kind of get, I think, Pop, a little bit back into game rhythm as well, too. This is a good matchup, I think, for him to kind of go out and get some good reps against a bad team. But yeah, Omenihu coming back is a much needed boost, especially for this defensive line. Can't wait to see the packages that Spagnuolo can come up with adding Uche as well to this defensive line and what they can do as far as from that fact. I think that NASCAR package of Karlaftis, Jones, Uche, and Omenihu could be deadly come playoff time if they can get that down correctly. So yeah, excited to see both of those guys back on the field. Definitely excited to see Charles Omenihu back. Just from the Texas perspective, Texas boy, back on the field again. So hopefully he goes out there and balls out and stays healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I'm happy to see both of these guys back, to say the least. I think Isaiah Pacheco, I think he probably gets more. Well, because it's tough that you're doing touches versus snaps in this case, but I think that he is going to get again in that 5 to 10 type of range as far as just take a little bit off. Nothing too crazy. First game back, Kareem Hunt will have probably the primary role as far as that's concerned. So my JP Ryan should go work again. Hoping we can just go ahead and eliminate Carson Steele outside of short waters. That'd be great.
DMac ain't letting this go, boy.
I'm just saying that would be perfect as far as that's concerned.
Sayonara.
No. Short yardage, okay? That's all I ask.
Get your life.
That's all I ask. And so we'll see exactly as far as that's concerned. But yeah, Charles Omenihu, this team needs pass rush badly. That's just the reality of the situation. If he comes back looking like 75% of himself in this week, I'll be happy, even if it isn't limited snaps, because I think that you'll see over the stretch run he'll continue to get better and better as far as that's concerned. So that's the update. We'll talk a little bit more about DJ Humphries after this week, because I think that's when we'll be able to talk about him actually maybe taking over this spot from Wanya Morris, who is, playing on one leg. And I want to continue to emphasize that when everybody continues to critique him, because he is playing on one leg. And so that being said, we can go into as far as the actual game preview, Chiefs versus Raiders, X factors and game predictions. Again, similar to the Carolina Panthers from last week. We played this team earlier in the year. We know their issues as far as it's concerned. It seems like it's going to be Aiden O'Connell trying to give it a go because Gardner Minshew is going to miss this game. Aiden O'Connell is still dealing with a hand issue. It is going to be cold out there, so it's not going to be the best of grips as far as that's concerned. I'll be honest with you guys. My X factor, in my personal opinion, Shamari Connor, he seems to be the guy that can take the ball away. He did it to Josh Allen, obviously last year's rookie year, but specifically versus the Bills. He seems to be the guy that finds a way to be in position to have these types of things. I think you got to take the ball away from Aiden O'Connell, especially as he kind of deals with that grip. I thought the game plan from the Raiders offense was a little bit good. It was very good last week, or I should say the first matchup, to be able to kind of get some of those drives in. I need to take the ball away from this team as well. I think the offense is in a much better spot. I think that they handle business as far as that's concerned. Obviously, Max Crosby is the major guy that you always have to keep extra locking eyes on from that standpoint. Christian Wilkins won't be playing in this game as well. So to me, the X factor is Shamari Connor, take the ball away. I think the Chiefs offense is in a good spot. So I'm going to go Chiefs 28. They don't need Matthew Wright. Chiefs 28, Raiders 17. I feel like I'm giving them too much credit, 17. And I also feel like I'm being completely naive, like this isn't going to be a one-score game. But I'm going to say it. Chiefs 28, Raiders 17. That's what it should be.
Eventually, they're going to do it. Eventually.
It's not going to be, but that's what I'm going to end up predicting. And my X Factor, Shamari Connor, DT or CJ, you guys go ahead and give you both.
Chiefs. It's the holidays. They beat us last time. I'm going to go Chiefs. Eventually, we're going to have a big game. Eventually. Yeah, kind of have to. Is Jack Jones and Max Crosby both playing? Christian Wilkins still out? Or did he come back?
Yeah, I think so.
He's still out.
He's still out? Okay. Chiefs. No kicker. Oh, yeah. Chiefs 26. Raiders 13. Nah, I'm lying. Chiefs 26, Raiders 16.
Okay.
X Factor. We gotta have a blowout one of these days, bro. Eventually,
bro. It's getting to the point where
it's just like
you don't want to predict it, but you like this should be a blowout, but it's
has
gonna turn
to be
into
one
a
of these days.
3-point game. Watch, like
it's like watching the Warriors, and eventually think they're gonna just go crazy one day. They're gonna do it eventually. My X Factor will be. X Factor. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go with the defensive end. Like DMac said, obviously we are very bad at covering tight ends. So this is gonna be a big week to see if we actually decide to do our job. Brock Bowers has been doing very well. Aiden O'Connell's hand is hurt, like DMac just mentioned. So obviously it's cold, maybe some slippage, maybe some opportunity to get a pick and get a turnover. So we definitely, I already bet anytime interception for Aiden O'Connell. I didn't really care who their quarterback was, him or Desmond Ridder. One of them's going to throw one, so I didn't care. So definitely, obviously, the defense. I'm gonna say if not Shamari Connor, I'm gonna go Brian Cook. One of them's gonna get an interception. He'll try to force one over the middle, probably throwing it to Brock Bowers. So they're gonna have a lot of opportunity because he's gonna give them a lot of targets. So you're gonna get a chance to get your hands on the football. Tips and overthrows, you got to get those. So
if we are in a one-score game with Desmond Ridder, I'm going to lose it. Go ahead.
if Desmond Ridder comes in the game and we don't get 2 picks, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh man, Chiefs. I'll say. I'm not gonna predict the blowout like that. Chiefs 23, Raiders 21. I always.
They better not score 3 touchdowns on this.
I'm saying this so that the Chiefs will hear me and they'll go out and be pissed at my score and prove me all wrong.
Please go blow them out.
Please go blow them out. But I'm not gonna predict it at this point. So 23-21 Chiefs. We'll squeak it out with a Matthew Wright field goal at the end. X factor to me, I won't say it's not really an X factor, but I just need to see a dominant game from Chris Jones, man. I need
sacks.
I need a dominant game, man.
He not getting double teamed every time?
Too late.
Yeah, that's true. But
and he ain't been getting double teamed before.
I need a dominant game. At least it's a 2-sack game. Some point in time, I need a 2-sack game, man. Like
a game where
you
to
go out, just
teams.
Forget the matchup, forget the double teams, forget the assignment. Just go out and just
get home, bro.
Get home. Yeah. Wreak havoc on this line. It's not a good team. It's a very good matchup for you as well. Just go out there and wreak havoc, man. Do your job. Do what you got paid to do. And just have a game, man. I want to see CJ celebration. I feel like we haven't seen a Chris Jones celebration in a minute or whatever. So I need to see that fire, that passion again back there, out there on the field, especially in this matchup. Black Friday at home after Thanksgiving, Arrowhead is gonna be rocking. Giving those people, all day to drink pretty much is an invite for a loud crowd. So it should be a Rockets atmosphere, especially with your hated rivals coming in to play this game. So I love to see the Chiefs dog walk this team, but I'm not gonna predict it because every time I do, it doesn't happen. So 23-21 and Chris Jones with 2 sacks.
God willing. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening as far as this game is concerned. Again, going to be freezing. Shout out to y'all that are going to the game. I will not be in attendance.
It's going to be cold.
Harold had a question specifically about Brian Cook and a little bit scared to hit. I think that this is unfortunately a byproduct of the issues in coverage in general. The safeties are playing a little bit more on their heels than necessarily downhill from that standpoint. And so I think that's taken a little bit of the teeth outside of whether it's Justin Reed or Brian Cook from that standpoint. But I will point out, unfortunately, it resulted in a loss on a specific drive, and this was a big conversion as a piece of it. But Khalil Shakir did not enjoy getting hit by Brian Cook last week on that one, cover 0 blitz where Brian Cook came downhill and tried to stop him from converting on that third down. So he's still hitting. It's just unfortunately some of the issues that the defense is presenting right now is limiting how much these guys can fly around at this current moment in time, at least from my perspective. So yeah, the other thing to add on as well, we do have to do a quick review. Obviously, tell the truth trifecta. We were so close. We were so close, guys.
And actually got a win too. Close and
almost got the win. Xavier really cashed. Got over.
Hey, y'all see my gift? Yeah, Noah. Yeah, see my gift.
44 yards. Noah, great catch very quickly on that
first quarter, like the first play,
first drive. You know what I'm saying?
First drive, cash immediately. Chuba Hubbard ended up having 58 yards, so just over his rushing yardage line from that standpoint. We will be able to give you guys our plays on Friday morning. We're probably gonna have to. I'll hit you guys up on Wednesday so we can give a little bit extra time tomorrow. Jesus Christ.
I got my prop already.
Yeah, we'll have that out to you guys probably Friday morning. We'll save you guys the trouble as far as Thanksgiving is concerned. And you guys can go ahead and tell us once again. We're batting well on these props. It's just unfortunate we only had the one sweep, which of course gave them a loss, which is
Sweep and a win. We gotta get one.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there for sure. So we will have that coming out again on a Friday morning for the Chiefs game day versus the Raiders as well. So last bit of business. Tell the truth power rankings. And obviously this is week 12. I don't know why. Oh, there you go. That's what it was. That's like it's week 12. I don't think that we're gonna have too much as far as the way of movement, to be honest with you guys. I mean, Lions won, Bills were on a bye week, Chiefs won. It was close. Steelers, the Steelers won. Steelers won.
They lost to the Browns.
They lost. They lost to the Browns on Thursday night. Dang, I forgot about that. That was early. Jameis Winston, man. Shout out to Jameis Winston. God, I love Jameis Winston. So Steelers
the soldiers
lost.
are prepared for battle. The trust comes in the Lord.
We're gonna do some snow angels.
Be able to be out here and have the opportunity
to play in some snow,
playing real football weather.
I just thank God for the opportunity.
Thank God for the opportunity, the chance.
The horses are prepared for battle, but victory comes in the Lord.
He told the guys, he said, it's not about the light,
the action. It's about
camera,
the action.
The action. It's about the action.
Play for the logo on the side of your helmet.
What?
You know what I mean. Play for the helmet. You know what I'm trying to
We
say.
ain't got a decal.
We ain't got a decal, but play for it. You know what I mean.
Just like my trainer told us. What did he tell us? He just told us to be prepared. That's just be prepared.
It's not about them. It's about us. It's not about the action. It's about the action.
Football.
Where was the pain, James? Pain. It was just pain everywhere.
He started a snowball fight with Thursday Night Football.
Victory comes within the Lord.
That man is a national treasure. The NFL
respect Jay Boo.
The NFL would do him a disservice if they did not find him a job after he is done playing. He needs to be on the NFL Network or something after he is done because he's hilarious.
Jay Boo always funny, bro. When I was in Alabama, he used to work out because he's from Bessemer, which ain't too far from Huntsville. So we would work out with him in the summer. And bro, Jay Boo, he's like that all the time. That's not for the cameras. He really acts like that all the time. He's hilarious, bro. Jay, he's a good dude. Obviously, he has a good family, and a wife and everything. So he's like that 24/7. He's the one of the funniest dudes I've ever met in my life. James is hilarious, bro.
I've heard some people be like, it's is it a game? Is it the persona that's put on? No, at least from the outside looking in, this feels very much that is generally just him, and how he approaches it. And look, there's a certain piece that that it feels like that man is operating within his life. And look, he's a quarterback in the National Football League. It's not like he has got a hard life from that standpoint. But for a team that is 3-8. And was left for dead, or understandably so, had a quarterback that had his issues, obviously on the way out the door and the way that his season ended. For Jameis Winston to kind of bring football, or some fun, I should say, to football in Cleveland, you got to be captured the way that man is operating. So shout out to Jameis. But yes, to get back to the subject. So Steelers lost. I think we just moved the Eagles up to 4. Ravens, good win over the Chargers. I think we can move the Ravens up to 5 from that standpoint as well. Question: we have the Chargers. Steelers? Are we moving the Steelers behind the Ravens? Are we willing to do that, even though they just lost to they just?
Well, they beat the Ravens.
They kind of beat them, so we probably have to keep them ahead for now.
Right. I feel like we probably have to.
Even though the Ravens are going to split with them, but for now, the Steelers, they beat them. So, and it was in Baltimore too. So, it was in Pittsburgh. Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll leave the Steelers 5, Ravens 6 for right now. Chargers. So Chargers, Cardinals, Texans, and Cardinals obviously lost their games, both divisional games. Cardinals
Texans
on the
dropped
road.
He pulled an Orlovsky. You dropping just for that alone.
Yeah, Texans are out of the rankings. The Broncos, how far up do we want to move the Broncos? Do we move them right behind the Chargers? Want to move them in front of the Chargers? Are we willing to go that far based on the Chargers losing that game to the Ravens?
Who's the better football team right now?
I think the Chargers are still the better football
I think the
team.
Chargers.
I think that for me, I would put the Chargers in front of the Broncos just for the sheer fact that Justin Herbert is the quarterback for the Chargers. And I think the quarterback situation is a little bit better out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it Justin. He got to throw the ball to Quentin Johnston all the time, so I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him. You got to deal
No
with that.
disrespect to what Bo Nix has done for the Broncos this year, but
Bo Nix, rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah, I think it's more Peyton, Sean Payton, his system.
Now, are we willing to put the Vikings ahead of the Chargers and Broncos?
Yeah. Nah.
I still don't think that.
I don't trust him.
Allowing the Bears to take you to overtime. I don't think
that was a wild game today. Like this wasn't a really good slate of games on paper, but some of these games were fairly, entertaining. That's the word I was looking for. So I'll take the Vikings 9. I mean, look, they still only got 2 losses on the season. You got to respect it to a certain extent, certainly. As far as options to take the 10th spot, Falcons were on a bye week. Seahawks obviously got the win over the Cardinals. Packers are 8-3. I think, for me, I think the Packers. Honestly, I would put the Packers over the Chargers, Broncos, and Vikings personally, but I don't know how you guys feel about that personally.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I'll go with the majority. Whatever y'all think is cool with me. Because I can see it either way, honestly.
I think the Packers deserve to be on this list over.
Yeah, like they're the better football team, in my opinion, but just the Jordan Love turnovers just be killing me, bro.
I understand.
It's just bro.
And
you beat the Niners. They don't have no quarterback right now, so I mean,
I'm putting the Packers over the Commanders too, but it's up to you guys how high you want to put them.
Yeah, Packers are the better football team, but it's just they've been wishy-washy, just like the Commanders have. So, but I'm cool either way.
I don't know.
Go with our first.
Packers.
Go with our first.
Packers 10.
Go with our first.
We'll put the Packers 10 for right now and see if they can continue to climb the ranks. I'm going to give the gold star specifically to Saquon Barkley, man. 255 yards, 300 yards.
MVP Barkley.
Shout out to Saquon Barkley, one of the most talented players in the National Football League, and finally being able to be on a team that he can showcase those talents to the fullest as well. So those are going to be your Week 12 power rankings. Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, Steelers, Ravens, Chargers, Broncos, Vikings, and Packers to wrap it up. And we're getting into that time of year, which, some of these teams start to separate themselves on out, and we'll see what ends up happening. So to wrap it up, we do have to, in my personal opinion, and I'm going to say this, I didn't tell DG or CJ this earlier, so you guys do not need to hold them accountable for anything that may happen after this, but we are going to lay a team to rest. And I know this team did not have its starting quarterback on Sunday, but I don't care. San Francisco 49ers, it's time to go to bed. Y'all ain't winning that division. Y'all not making the playoffs. That Super Bowl hangover, it done took y'all out back. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Fun times.
Sorry. Time to go to bed.
You'll always have the Super Bowls.
Yeah, dear Kyle Shanahan. Your team is ass. I don't know how else to put it. I didn't think I would be saying that about the 49ers this year.
I had they busted up my ticket. I had them winning the division.
Yeah, it's not looking too good out there, especially I know this week.
Sayonara.
Yeah,
I know people are going to be like, "Oh, they're only 5-6 in divisions." Look, guys, they're about to go to the Bills. It's about to be snowing. We don't know if Brock Purdy's even going to play. That's going to be a loss. The Bears game ain't going to be easy. I'll be honest with you. I still think that's not going to be easy. Not
the way they play. None of their games.
Not the way they're playing right now. Then they host the Rams, and the Rams. I think the Rams got them early in the first time. I believe 24. Yeah. Then they got to go to Miami, and Miami is starting to get it together because they got their wide receivers back. And Tua is back. Then they host the Lions, and then they finish the season with the Cardinals. I'm sorry. I don't see the path for them to make it. Maybe I'll end up being wrong. I'm betting that I'm not. I'm going to lay the
CMC just turn into prime CMC again, I guess.
I just think it's getting way too late this season. Yeah, I thought that they could turn it around, but it's starting to get way too late in the season for that. So at this point, I'm not sure. what they're gonna do. I just know, it's just not looking too good. Yeah, man, they got a lot of stuff I think they're gonna have to fix, and I think maybe rolling into next year, Kyle Shanahan could possibly be on the hot seat. You know,
I don't think it gets that bad only because I look at Kyle Shanahan the same way I look at, Kevin O'Connell or Kevin Stefanski or whatever guy you want to. In a difference, it's Mike Tomlin, where it's like those guys, even if it's a down year, you know that those guys would be scooped up in a heartbeat if they were on the
yeah, it's true.
You always gonna have a job. Yeah, absolutely.
So I do think it'll be just fine as far as that's concerned. But hey,
tough sledding, boy. Tough sledding.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it. That Super Bowl hangover, it'll get you, man.
It is real. Very real.
It be like that.
It absolutely is. So appreciate you guys for coming by. The Chiefs will be taking over the Raiders on Black Friday. Certainly looking forward to what that game will end up entailing. Do hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving. Be on the lookout again. I'm not sure what Kingdom Cast is going to end up doing. Probably not going to have a show, to be honest with you guys.
Enjoy your families.
Please enjoy your families. Absolutely. Enjoy some leftovers when the Chiefs end up kicking off at 3 p.m. on Black Friday as well. Get that turkey sandwich working, a little bit of cranberry sauce on the side. And again, enjoy the time that you guys have with your families. All the
sweet potato over pumpkin pie.
Who eats pumpkin pie?
Hey, I'm just look, if to the 216 people that have watched tonight, get rid of the pumpkin pie.
We don't do pumpkin pie, bro. No.
Dude, get you some sweet potato pie.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
The pumpkin.
It's okay. I know it looks the same. It looks the same. It's not
they don't taste the same. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm gonna stick to the apple pie or peach cobbler. That's where I like to stick. That's just me personally. I'm not
I'm a pound cake guy myself.
I love me a pound cake.
Nice slice of pound cake hits every time.
Pound cake with the caramel drizzle on it too.
Never fails.
Mm-hmm. Okay, real quick, because we're talking about it now. So just give me your Thanksgiving plate. What's it look like? What's the Thanksgiving plate look like?
Gotta have the turkey. Gotta have that. Gotta have me some stuffing. Have me some. I like cranberry sauce mixed in mine. I prefer the ocean spray. I don't mind homemade. Just a little bit. Give it that little sweet. You know what I'm saying? Not a whole lot. Just a little on top of there. Sweet potatoes for sure. You know what I'm saying? Mac and cheese, collard greens. Gotta have the hot sauce. Okay, I don't like my greens touching my other food because it's too much going on. So I keep my greens separate. Everything else is cool to touch on the plate. And then I try not to eat too much because I know itis is real. I could eat a small plate and still be falling asleep. That's just me. So no, the biggest thing I look forward to is my aunt's her desserts. So banana pudding and her pound cake are the best I've ever had in my life. So those are the two things I look forward to that more than the food for sure.
Understandable.
Yeah, turkey, ham. I'm more of a dressing guy than a stuffing guy.
I'm cool either way.
Yeah, but
I'm not picky.
Greens, the mac and cheese, the yams. What else? Gotta have a roll on there, somewhere.
Hawaiian roll, prefer.
A little Hawaiian roll,
A little butter on that, you know what I'm saying?
And then what else? Yeah, man, that's pretty. I'm pretty simple when it comes to,
me too, bro.
Thanksgiving.
Keep it straightforward.
Me too.
But I'm a big sweet potato pie guy. Especially my aunt's sweet potato pies. It's amazing.
Can never go wrong with aunt's food.
Inner greens too. So hopefully get both of those this year.
My
mom is she's like probably the best cheesecake maker this world has ever seen. So usually we have a good cheesecake around as well too. So eat that. I'm not a banana pudding guy. So a lot of people give me a lot of smoke on Twitter for that or whatever, but it just is what it is.
I don't understand. Who the hell is happy about banana pudding?
It's a texture thing. It's not necessarily that I don't think that it's good. It's just the texture and and I'm not a huge banana guy.
I know a lot of people who feel the same way, like the way DG feel. They feel that way about red velvet cake. They don't like it. So
I don't mind red velvet cake. I just don't like when they put the cream cheese icing on it. Like I hate cream cheese icing with a passion. It's awful. But no, my plate: turkey, mashed potatoes, greens. I gotta have the roles, whether it's my mom's or my aunt's, either one, they'd be fire. Again, ocean spray cranberry sauce. I don't know what it is. It's just fire.
It just tastes
to me as
different,
well.
bro.
I know it's not for
Just give
everybody.
me a
but
little bit, just a little. You know what I'm saying?
It's a nice thin slice right there on top.
Make sure
And again, if you don't like the turkey, I'm sorry to tell you, you just got the wrong person
it's
cooking.
probably cooked wrong.
Because it ain't dried out. It's not.
It ain't got no flavor.
You got the wrong person cooking it. I promise you that.
Put seasoning on your meats.
Or when you're cooking it, try making sure there's something in it, like chicken broth or something. Like put that so it doesn't get as dry while it's cooking. You know what I'm saying?
No disrespect to our non-melanated friends out there. I love you guys.
We still rock with y'all.
I appreciate you guys. You're good people. But I've seen a lot of videos of y'all deep frying turkeys and not putting seasoning on your turkey.
Come out dry.
Butt booty naked turkey and
no rub, no nothing.
It's just come on, yeah.
Just throw it.
Come on, gang. It's
pink and exposed to the world.
It's 2024
and it's dry. Put nothing in it.
It's plenty of seasons to go around. You don't even have to do that much. You can get an all-purpose season.
You can get a Lowry's. Do something.
Yeah, please. Just do something. Anything. But
you can look it up on these recipes on
the
TikTok,
turkey in and it's just bare white.
Out there.
And they be thinking they cooking too.
Come on,
put it in there.
Yeah, come on.
Then they be posting a plate and be like, "Oh, look what she made me do."
I'm trying to
no
help
disrespect, bro. Don't serve me no green bean casserole. Don't ever bring that.
Nah, stay away from anything involving casseroles. I don't mind green beans. I enjoy green beans.
Can y'all stop?
I like nothing involving
just
green
not
beans.
Can y'all stop putting the marshmallows on the sweet potato? Stop doing that, please.
My mom makes her sweet potatoes. She don't use the marshmallows, but I've seen people do it. Just stop doing that. That's a lazy thing to do.
Come on.
Use some brown sugar. You know what I'm saying? Be normal.
Put some effort into it.
Try. Try. You know
okay, my Kansas City friends. What is Fritz?
Fritz. I think it's a meat store or something like that. Or butcher shop or something. I think it's over. Is it over in Kansas? On State Line? Is that what you're talking about?
Fritz, yeah, it's over there. They got two of them. They got one in KCK.
Are we talking about the one next to Gates on State?
The one in KCK is like off 18th Street. The one in State Line is going towards like 103rd, like State Line area. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, there you go.
Okay, yeah.
Fritz is good food though. If you know about Fritz, you from the city. If you know nothing about the city, you from Fritz.
There you
Put
go.
Some season. Just use season.
Come on, do something.
That's the Thanksgiving message. Have some time with your family. Enjoy some good food. Hopefully that is seasoned as well. I will tell y'all right now because I did want to pull this up. Enjoy. I think that Bears-Lions game going to be a little bit fun until the Lions decide to, bludgeon the team as they have to everybody else apparently. Go ahead, have you that first plate during that Bears-Lions game. Go ahead, take you that afternoon nap during that Cooper Rush versus whoever the heck the Giants want to start that week. Thanksgiving game. And then I think that Packers Dolphins game will be worth watching. And of course, we'll wrap it up. Black Friday, Chiefs, Raiders, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for those in the Kansas City area, Central Standard Time time zone. So appreciate you guys once again. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your family. Good talking Chiefs as always. For DG, CJ, I'm DMac, Wake 360, man. Peace out. Go Chiefs.